Okay, so the location score lads here talking about online search interest, and this is a really interesting measure because it doesn't seem that long ago where people would flip through the newspaper and have a look, but now that doesn't seem to be, print is still a part of people's online or part of people's search activity, but majority of people are looking online, and so therefore this indicator becomes more and more important over time.
Yeah, so what it is exactly is you jump on realestate.com.au, you look for 4-bedroom houses in Lidcombe, and half a dozen pop up, or however many. And you click on one, that click is recorded by realestate.com.au as a search. So there's someone searching for a property. Now, how many people have you got searching for that one property? And if you keep track of all of these clicks, all these page visits, you can get a ratio of the number of people searching per property, and that's what the online search interest is.
Yeah, good. Keep going. I mean, in terms of we know that on those search engine portals, both Domain and realestate.com, they absolutely allow you to actually see the level of interest in that area. Now, what we're doing though is looking at effectively 15,000 suburbs by units and by houses, and we're aggregating that data. So yes, you can find that data very easily, can't you? But it's then about how does that look and how does that fit into the overall variables we look at.
Well, it's a fundamental problem, isn't it? People can do it in isolation for 1, 2, maybe half a dozen suburbs, but it's being able to compare it in the context of the entire country, which makes the real edge.
Yeah, there are some issues with it though. It's not perfect.
No.
You don't know whether that person is the
dreamer.
owner or a dreamer, a sticky beak, or they keep coming back every week.
We've all had a look at Potts Point and Vaucluse, but we're not actually actively in the market.
That's right, yeah. So it can be a little unreliable, and that's why it can vary from week to week, month to month. It's not something you can keep going back and visiting over time. You need to look at a historical chart to see the line of best fit. Where is it roughly? I mean, last week it might have been at 100, and this week it's at 20, but overall it's been sitting on 50 for the last 6 months. So you want to iron out all those kinks.
What about seasonal trends in that data? Because at the beginning of the year, you've got people who have got New Year's resolutions, and they've dream building. In July, they've got end of year financial bonuses. Have you seen any trends in?
Yeah, lifestyle locations, Noosa, Byron Bay, Coolangatta, around the summer holidays. Boom, up it goes. Yeah.
So how do you effectively filter out some of those anomalies, or is that just the line of best fit? Just taking
the line of best fit. You want to have a look over the last 3 years, or even over just 1 year, because then you can see the seasonal changes.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's really important to understand that this is not the one you would go out and bank on capital growth.
No.
Of all of the variables we're looking at, this is almost like, all right, check, all looking good, okay, and that one's not too bad either, as opposed to, so in other words, the weighting that we put in the score is not as significant as what, say, stock on market would be, or yield in terms of that type of thing.
Yeah, and every indicator, every metric suffers at some point or another, and that's why it's so important to look at a broad range of them, not just one in isolation.
Yeah, and that's why we do a score of that in terms of getting that weighting together.
And that's the real science behind it, is being able to get the weighting right, so that people can put the right amount of emphasis on the right indicator, so they can make a better decision and collaborate that across the entire market.
At the end of the day, it's all about supply and demand. That's basically what we're trying to do. We're saying, where do we see an opportunity in the global market of Australia, and then isolating those pockets and then seeing those trends in those areas, and effectively validating that there is interest in this market. The worst thing to do for capital growth is to buy in a market where there's no interest, because you're going to be sitting there and there's opportunity cost, isn't there, Jeremy?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the opportunity cost, the average Brisbane investor endured from, say, 2012 to the end of 2016 versus buying in Sydney, $500,000 property, you're looking at about $250,000 in opportunity cost.
At the moment, which is incredible, isn't it? I mean, that's the message here, and ultimately there are still other variables that we measure as part of the DSR engine, but that's really important. But for location score, we're just making it easier for people to look at those simple measures, validate their areas and move forward with their research.
Ben, it's the location score advantage. You've got the opportunity to find the suburb that's investment grade. You're using the years of experience from the DSR data engine that Jeremy has poured his life's work into. He calls himself a data nut job. It's a fair indication that bringing together all of that data across all of these markets, helping people be able to sort of filter that down to an area that they're investing in straight away, it can't be done on a manual basis.
No, it's the subject matter expertise that brings that together. So it's all well and good to look at lots of data, but it's about reading those insights. And Jeremy is, one of the best in Australia at determining those insights and tweaking and weighting those variables to get the best result.
So there you go, folks. If you want the location score advantage and get the years of experience that we've got from Jeremy and the passion that comes from Ben and I, why don't you check it out and see if it helps you buy your next investment property in the best investment grade location.